Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of Chicago, beckons the members of the LGBTQ plus squared members of the LGBTQ community to call, it's a call to arms. It's a call to arms, aka strapping up. Her tweet specifically said, to my friends in the LGBT plus, there's two T's in there, community, the Supreme Court is coming for us next after the Roe v. Wade. The moment has to be a call to arms. This is the moment. So, in other words, Lori Lightfoot said, every fucking, sissy out there, every gay guy get every gay person get a GAT, every lesbian get your LMGs, every transsexual get your Taliban special, every bi gets a 4-5, every sissy gets a 50, every faggot gets an effin', every homo gets a fofo, every dyke hold the sights, every butch gets a bomb and a rifle named Tom who shoots all over Harry, Dick, and Tom. Come on, come on. Lori Lightfoot got a rifle and she's shooting niggas just like you. Welcome to the weekend show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the weekend show with Medium J. I'm your host, Medium J. And I come correct with this shit. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever seen a soldier in heels? Let's just throw that out there. Have you ever seen a soldier in drag? You know what I'm saying? Like a motherfucker in the trenches with that makeup on, lipstick. He's going through the trenches and he's got his eyelashes did. He's crawling through the dirt. He's in the middle of the woods with his rifle shouldered, you know what I mean? And a handbag on the side. It can carry one grenade. It's small enough to carry just one grenade, in the tank, is the tank holding, like a sauna, or a nail salon to get your nails done inside the tank? These are just jokes, people, but it's kind of ridiculous to just tell a member of any minority to just go, hey, listen, get your guns up. Get your guns up and let's ride out. Get your guns up, homie. And Lori Lightfoot seems like such a bridge troll. She looks like she looks like Mo Sislak, but like decrepit and old. If Mo was real and black and a woman and the mayor of Chicago, she looks like a bridge troll. Like she looks like someone you see underneath like one of those old fables, and it's like you give her some coins and then she puts a spell on your enemies. Like that's who she looks. She looks like Smeagol almost. She looks, put her next to Smeagol, and you can kind of see what I'm getting at. Now, I was in her LGBTQ 2A plus squared. The square means everything that comes after squared. The square means I'm just adding the square. I don't think the square is actually in it, but the square is like to cap off, because it's a constantly evolving acronym. It was one of the acronyms that they added the 2A and 2. I think there's an S in there that just came out recently. So the square is something to represent a window of where you can open it up and anything in the future, I'm already capitalizing in the square. So the square is the idea of anything that comes next after this current recording of the podcast. But I was in her army, right? I was in Lightfoot's army. Because I'm queer. Like let's just branch off. I'm a queer guy. I personally don't like sex. Just throw that out there. I don't. I'm a guy that goes, I think logically like Elon Musk. I'm grinding out. I'm like dropping podcasts. I'm making music. I'm doing all this stuff. And by the way, I just made a music video. Go check out Tater Thoughts. It's a nice single off my upcoming album dropping October 31st. Just like last. It's gonna be the add-on to the Mortals Make Messiahs Mortals edition. We're gonna drop the Messiahs edition. And it's gonna be hot, guys. It's gonna be hot. But the single that I just dropped is, a little intro, a little preview of things to come. But I digress. I am so busy, I'm so laser focused in my work that I often forget about my biological needs as a man to reproduce and have sex. So it makes me queer because I'll see like maybe an attractive girl and I will think, I wonder what she thinks about when she goes to sleep at night, not what she looks like naked, you know what I'm saying? So I'm queer, right? I'm a very strange guy. A lot of people tell me I'm strange. So I've adopted the queer attitude. Not necessarily like men, but I don't mind them, So I was in this bitch, and now let me tell you, I was in the squad. I was a 5th level Marine pilot in Lori Lightfoots Army. I was a 4-star brigadier general. I was the 3rd best for longest held breath underwater. I was second to none. I was the first up to train in the day and the last to leave at night. I was Lori Lightfoot's finest. They actually gave me the Lightfoot Medal of Honor for having the lightest feet while doing a 25,000 mile run, 25K marathon. Not even made a sound. I didn't breathe. I earned my medals. My medals were earned, not given. No one can pass me. I stacked medals up to the sky. Top of my field. No one came close to the records that I set. And you want to know why no one can compete with me? Because I was a trans woman competing in a woman's division. These poor women couldn't see what was hitting them, We'll talk about in tug of war, flawless. I yanked women out of the air. I yanked them. They were feet flying. They came flying, crashing down. I had to dodge them. I pulled them so hard and fast. No, nothing sexual, because I'm queer. I pulled them so hard and fast that they were coming at me. I had to dodge. I had to dodge them like artillery, which was also training for my next rogue missions, I climbed the walls, the wall mountains the fastest. Whilst upon the wall, I prevented other biologically feminine contestants from completing the course by pushing them off. I stood guarded. I was pushing them down. They would come up. As soon as someone was coming up close to me, I'd push them back down. That's what I did. And I could outstrength these because I was still a biological male, but trans. I was trans and queer trans. My trench crawl was bar none. No one could stop me when I was crawling through the trenches, in those courses. Thanks to my big, meaty shoulders. My big, meaty shoulders. No one could stop me. No wrestling exercises. The wrestling got a little bit weird. I'm not gonna lie, Because this one chick got me in a triangle, and not gonna lie, man, she had it in. She had her legs locked around my neck, And I've been there before. It's not the first time I had pussy in my face. Check the one song that I had in my face. On Captain Save-O. It was a callback way back from the early days in the fans. You know what I'm saying? But she had her legs locked on my neck in a triangle, and she was squeezing the shit out of me, but I was just flexing my neck. I took it. So I was getting kind of annoyed, though, because a lot of people thought she was going to choke me out. I was not even, let's be honest, I was not even close to getting choked out by these girl legs around my neck. It's not the first time I had girl legs around my neck, you know what I'm saying? So I picked this girl up, right? I picked her up rampage style. Then I powerbombed her. I straight up powerbombed her, with the powerbomb suplex. Smashed all her organs, broke her spine, neck snapped, skull cracked, brains bleeding out. She's instantly dead, right? And it was awkward as fuck, you know what I mean? Because We were doing training exercise. We were doing wrestling training exercise, and I killed her. So I didn't even think I powerbombed. I gave her like a tenth of what Rampage did to that dude in the ring. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they kicked me out. I'm not gonna lie. She died off the impact alone, and they kicked honorable discharge because I was. If I was an actual man and I did that, I'd be facing war crimes right now. But they couldn't really touch me because I was a trans queer man, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I got kicked out immediately, you know. Yeah. Well, that's what Lightfoot's thing. This is what she wants. She wants gay soldiers, right? She wants gay streets violence. The crime in Chicago's no laughing matter, though. 30 people this weekend has been shot. This week, as a recording of this podcast, this weekend, 33 people have been shot. 5 of these shots were fatal. Now, although Lightfoot said we cannot allow any of our public spaces to become platforms for danger, this weekend, 5 of those shootings, the victims were located in the first police district. So, like the biggest district of Chicago's police district. They're just, 5 of these shootings went on, and there's no real end to this madness. And so what her plan of action is that she wants to ban minors from Millennial Parks after dark, 6 p.m. to be exact. No minor can be out at without a responsible adult. Like one that doesn't tell a group of people to bear arms. That's not a responsible adult. Chicago, often labeled as Chirac, is one of the most dangerous places in America, if not the world. You know what I'm saying? It's like the most deadliest city when it comes to crime, violent shootings, passings. Even third world countries somehow have less murders on any given weekend, and these are third world countries that are war torn. We're talking about actual Chirac and Iraq. If you compare the two, as far as deaths in a weekend concerned, you could pick out a weekend in Chicago and a weekend in Iraq and go, maybe we should take that trip to Iraq, honey. I don't think we got to see the Chicago, the windy city. You know what I'm saying? Because apparently it's a windy city filled with lead flying through the city. You know what I'm saying? And it's wild that Lori Lightfoot would come out and say these tweets about, and especially banning like children from the parks after dark. It's setting a precedent. So it's like we're pushing people that want to stay safe inside and just let the guys. I think Chicago was also the one city that had they had this thing like where like people were having gang shootouts in the street, and the police didn't intervene or anything. They didn't stop it. They didn't. No arrests were made because it was a mutually. Like it was a mutual combat zone or something. They said there's mutual combat zones now in Chicago or something like that, where just two gangs can go have at it on the streets, which is wild, man. And it's like slowly making like it's like a fucking Gotham. It's like a city Gotham. Like there's gonna be a couple of guys like Batman or something just rising up in the ranks of fucking like just fighting crime. Like I can't imagine being a police officer in Chicago. Because first of all, like, dude, like your own mayor's like, yeah, just let them fight it out. All the gay people need to strap up. No, anybody under 16 not allowed to go out to the park at 6 p.m. because shit gets a little wild up in here. And it's like, and you see little Lori Lightfoot with like in a penguin tux next to a dude with a suit with a bunch of question marks on it, and then a guy in clown face makeup with a gun. Just like, yeah, gets a little wild after dark over here. You know what I'm saying? It's wild to think that this shit's going on, and this mayor is literally almost feeding into the gangs. Maybe a gang member has her under her wing, his wing, or her, women could be gang leaders too, guys. But yeah, Chicago doesn't need more guns. Chicago doesn't need more people in the streets with guns. Chicago doesn't need to fucking hide the children away. They need to crack down on certain things. Why is there a problem at Millennium Park, specifically after dark? And it's always happening. Just have some more people policing it. Have some people policing the places. And it's like, I highly doubt that. I highly doubt if you keep giving, these successions or whatever, concessions. Keep giving these concessions to these gang members. You're conceding into like their lifestyle. Eventually your city is going to look like, like a comic book fucking territory of like a gritty city that just, it's like no man's land. It's a lawless wasteland that Chicago is becoming, man. And it's sad. And yeah, we specifically don't need members of the LGBT walking around with choppers on deck. You know what I mean? Because they're already a community that feels that they need some sort of revenge. A lot of them, especially with what happened with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, he makes jokes for a living, man, and he got rushed by this queer, and we all seen how that turned out, man. It's like, it's very hard to sneak up on somebody with high heels. I'm just gonna throw that out there again, man. It's very hard. But yeah, we don't need, like, there needs to be more policing. It's like, and I can't believe like it's like not even being said. At least some sort of maybe some sort of community that, like, instead of these kids coming out of school doing nothing, like either rapper, ball player, have some more fucking like communities open, some more fucking, cause like I don't care how gangster you are. I don't see dudes walking, like, black drug dealers walking into like a community basketball game and shooting up the place. It's more like, just there's nothing going on. There's, just a big trap house, and then shit pops off usually in the ghetto, right? But if they had just more infrastructure, more places for kids to go outside of school, they less time to get wrapped up into the street life, right? Like just community centers, maybe a little computer libraries and shit, and just teach these kids fucking a way out at least, because like too many kids are getting wrapped up in these fucking gang lifestyles. And we got to stop the violence. But when a person's hungry, man, they tend to run down a long list of ideas of how to get food, and a lot of the time it ends in violence, man. So it's like, yeah, the infrastructure would help a person if they had a solid community. But if they don't even have a solid household and they're broke, struggling, or whatever, in severe poverty, you can kind of see how you're led astray that path. Now, gotta throw that out there. Chicago is the trenches, man. But having a mayor that thinks that she's John Gotti probably doesn't help, man. She literally looks like a person that thinks that they're a mob boss. She looks like a fucking one of those super villains with one of those swiveling well, I got a swiveling chair, but I'm talking about one of those evil chairs. This is like, check out this chair. It's like a gaming chair. It's not that evil. You see a lot of e-girls have it. A lot of, streamers have this. But she looks like one of those people that has one of those, made of actual human bone chairs. Those bone thrones, if you will. She looks like that. She looks like fucking like a mob boss. But remember that tweet that she had that's like, get vaxxed, and like $100 bills, and she was like posing. She was like, she did like Wu-Tang. She was like Wu-Tang or some shit. She's like, she was like doing like a fucking like a pose with all the money. She's like, what's up? Get vaxxed, motherfucker. Get vaxxed or we gonna track you. What's up? It was wild. It was a wild tweet because that was a mayor. That was legitimately a mayor of Chicago. And I don't know. It kind of just, no one really talked about him. People were like so in depth, and so many people under the payroll of the vaccine companies, like especially the big pharma. They're all getting money and sponsorships, but it's just wild that like they didn't really acknowledge her tweet. They're just like, oh yeah, Mayor Lightfoot just trying to encourage the black youth to get vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? Because to be honest, man, you know who takes photos like that? This is actually like cool, like usually real cool, like, drug dealers or like, motherfuckers flexing. Or, the people up in the suburbs see a rapper do it and they do it next to their money and shit. But usually a lot of those people are like serious drug dealers that do that. Like pose on Instagram next to their pile of money or put a tweet out there with a pile of money with a chain on and just throwing up sets and shit. A lot of those people are fucking deadly, and a lot of those people, they deal, life or death situations, so, at least, a couple of times a week. I don't know, daily. Not too sure how gang lifestyle is. Would it be could you imagine every day being a gangster? And every day you're just waking up like, oh man, gotta, when you're thinking about worried about clocking in, you're like, I can't be late. My boss gonna kill me. And then, actual drug dealers are like, dude, if I'm actually late with this money, my boss he's gonna fucking kill me. Like, seriously, I'm gonna wind up in a river, and my family might be next. Like, it'd be wild if it was every day there. I'm sure there's some good moments in the highlights of the drug life is like probably like dancing with dancing in VIP with like a whole bunch of stacks. Well, I guess the highlights would be flexing, doing the Wu-Tang symbol next to your fucking stack of cash. You know what I'm saying? You got a whole bunch of cash. That's a highlight. Yeah. So, but like those people probably don't even think about vaccines. They probably are like, dude, like, what's the percentage of chance I'm gonna die from COVID? What's the percentage of chance I'll die of the vaccine? Either way, it doesn't even fucking matter. I'm not gonna pull up in the vaccine because I don't want motherfuckers to know my name. Because I'm Big James in the street. I got a gun and I got a couple murders out there. The less people know about me, the better, right? There's warrants out for my arrest, right? I'm not gonna get vaccinated, dude. Get the fuck out of here, right? Especially because they go like, what's COVID? The risk of COVID 0.110%. I don't know. So the death. Well, I wake up every day with a point, whatever, bounty on my point, whatever $1 million bounty on my head. And motherfuckers are trying to kill me, all right? I'm sure those drug dealers don't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They're like, dude, like I'm moving in the street. I see a lot of people. I built up natural immunity. A drug dealer with glasses on. Actually, Lori, I was considering getting the vaccine, but with the amount of transactions I make and the amount of cash that I touch, I've actually built an overtly unnatural natural immunity. My natural immunity is 4 to 6 times better than, I've checked my isotopes and I've seen my spiked leveled proteins. I'm actually vibrantly healthier than the average person, thanks to natural immunity and constantly touching cash and constantly packing up drugs and handing off bags and picking up bags of this and and a lot of the times we do wear gloves and masks while we're cooking meth, so as we're 10 steps ahead of you guys, right? This is a drug dealer arguing with Lori Lightfoot, but it's just wild to think that who the fuck is she appealing to with those tweets? Like, these tweets that she has, like, is it Chief Keef? Like, hopefully Chief Keef and his gang, O-Block, Glow Gang or whatever. Hopefully they get to their doctors and make an appointment, because they have yet to get the first dose. Wow, Chief Keef's rapping about like murders and stuff. It's just wild. It's wild to think because Lightfoot, what are you doing with your life, bruh? We gotta be honest. This whole getting called to arms thing, it's a little cringy, baby. Get back to swinging at passengers with a big wooden stick filled with bees that you normally do. Yeah, fucking troll face looking bitch. She honestly like her hair looks like Al Sharpton. Her chin looks like like she's got a Mo looking mug, and her body looks like she could be one of the seven dwarfs. One of the seven dwarf rejects. Just, it's not a good look. Like, this is look for Chicago. But is she even tough on crime? I don't know. It seems like she's really good at letting more crime. Like, it's been more crime in Chicago. And the end note, we'll just end it. We'll end this little bit. Lightfoot, maybe get a heavy foot, on crime. Maybe put your foot down at some time instead of like telling like who's gonna fight crime in Chicago. Because I hope it's not the LGBTQ plus community. For real. Like, dude, really? Like, we got this nigga named Jose, in leather pants and a very deep V-neck. It's a very deep V-neck, ladies and gentlemen. And he talks like this. Listen, sister, you're not gonna, I don't know. It's very hard. Listen, sister, we're strapped in, and he's rubbing his AR-15 like it's a cock. He's like, we're ready to blow on your face and shoot all up on your chin if you fuck around in Chicago. We got these sticks for your butt. Like Prince. Show him your game face, boys. Pose now. They got the gun in the air and they're twerking. They're all men just twerking. Again, if that's our line of defense, I think I'm joining the Taliban, boys. If Lori Lightfoots Gay Army is our only line of defense, let's just by the way, I'm in Chicago now, so I'm in last week I was in Texas, I'm in Chicago now. If Lori Lightfoot's got these gay people running around, I think I'm gonna have to commit myself to a life of crime because, like, dude, like, I can't just get saved by a homosexual while he's giving me a mouth to mouth and he's stroking my chest and you go, what's your dog doing? And his buddy's over there, like, just giving me ass massages. He's like, I'm good, man. I'm good. Yo, get off me. I'm good. Because I've had an equal amount. I got a big ass. I got a fat ass. It's on a level of Kim Kardashian ass. I got a very nice, supple butt. A lot of girls like to grab it. And it's gone to a point where it's sexual harassment. But the same amount of girls touching my ass is the same amount of guys that touch my ass, which I don't condone it. I don't like it. It's very uncomfortable. I'm gonna get uncomfortable when girls slap my ass, especially when I'm giving it to them. I'm saying, I'm smacking their ass. I'm doing my thing. I'm the man in this. Then she comes around and just slaps my ass even harder than I slapped her asses. It's a tough thing to deal with as a man. Constantly getting, because my ass is it's about as fat as Kim's, and it's nice. It's nice, and you just want to play with it. I look in the mirror sometimes. I turn myself on. My ass is so fat right now. But if we had, like a whole infantry of, I wouldn't be able to say no for a soldier if he wants to get his way with me. And we'll leave it at that. Moving on. So, speaking of Kim Kardashian, speaking of Chicago, and we'll talk about Kanye West. Now, Kanye West is from Chicago. He even named one of his children Chicago. Kanye suffers from this thing called bipolar disorder. It's also known as manic depression. It's a mental illness that brings severe highs and lows in their mood swings and changes in sleep, energy, and thinking and behavior. Now, personally, I don't think anything's wrong with Ye. He's like a bum that made good, right? He was one of those guys that came from the trenches of Chicago, one of the hardest, cities in America, right? It's a tough. He came from fucking trenches of Chirac, man, and the majority of his family isn't living on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The majority of his family, still probably keeps it real. He talks about a lot of the times this cousin that stole his laptop that he had like some homemade sex tapes on, and claimed that his brother was gonna release him if he didn't get like $250,000. Gave him like $250,000 or something. He gave him quite a bit of money to get the laptop back, and even in that scene, that one instance, he said he even had to get he had to put like a lie detector test on his own cousin to make sure he didn't make more copies, like because he could have sent himself something. But that's fucking wild to be like, that's your family, man, he grew up with, and he just fuck with you just for that bag. And I wonder what he did with that bag. Is it worth it? Was it worth it fucking around Kanye? Bum cousins, right? But it's wild because Kanye probably still has that one foot in Hollywood. But he also has his family. To be honest, like his family's not making the payrolls that he is. His family's not like the Kardashian family where they're all invested and they all have their multiple business ventures. I'm sure Kanye West probably has a lot of his family on the payrolls. He's helping out. He's with their bills. And Kanye West is a nice guy, right? He seems like he's got this survivor's guilt where he feels like he feels guilty because, like, dude, Chicago's still dealing. We know how Chicago's dealing with the city, not his daughter. Chicago's dealing with a whole lot of poverty, dealing with a whole lot of struggles internally. Gang warfare is high up. The mayor's fucking whacked out of her mind. It's got to be weird to know that you're living good. It's right. He's living this, in Ohio or whatever, Wyoming. He's kicked his feet up and he's loving life, right? It's wild to think that he's got these the survivor's guilt, because I personally don't think anything's wrong with him, but he does have, this case in point for, sorry, I fucking stumbled through some shit. Hard to read my writing. Here's the case in point for his survivor's guilt. He makes these clothes, right, that make you look like you're homeless, so that the rich upper echelons of white people, mostly white people, but the one percenters, all the people that can afford Kanye West clothes, are gonna look like the poor people running around in Chicago, mostly black people, with holes tatted up from being shot at, have the same look as someone on TV now wearing a vintage Kanye West RuneScape wardrobe. His clothing line, it looks like it's a fashion show for the homeless, right? He makes these ratty, torn up clothes stylish again, and it's kind of like it's the Robin Hood with more steps initiative. It's like he makes these clothes that are and he's probably got a lot of charities, like the Donda charity, I think it was the Donda Church. He's got a lot of things that invested, I'm sure, in philanthropy. Philanthropy. He's got a lot of philanthropy, and I'm sure a lot in his home city, especially helping the youth in the communities, right? So he would sell these clothes to the rich, right? And through this elaborate scheme of things called business that he would eventually put money into. It's actually not even that much more steps. It's actually Kanye West might be Robin Hood, He might be Robin Hood because he's got, like, dude, you've seen some of the clothes that only rich people can afford, and then the rich people are the only ones rocking. Like, I never would have gotten hyped up over Yeezys. I don't like Jordans either. I see shoes. I'm like, fuck, man, give me the basics. High tops. Give me some high tops with not so much logos. There's some shit that looks drippy, I'll admit. There's some shit that looks pretty fucking cool. But I'm not into feet. I'm not into, sorry. Like, shoes are cool, and if you got some nice shoes, you go, oh shit, those are nice shoes. I seen a kid with nice shoes, though. I seen a kid with, like, the freshest, like, I think they were Yeezys, to be honest. But they might have been knockoff Yeezys, because they had, like Goku or something on. Oh, no, I was thinking they were Nikes. They're Nikes, so knockoff Yeezys. Yeah, but I think they had, like, fucking, it was written in, like, the Goku letters, and it was, like, anime. It looked pretty cool, and all in all. But, getting back onto Kanye West, I think there's this struggle, and it's an internal struggle with Kanye West because he suffers from bipolar disorder, but I don't think it's real. I don't think none of that's real. I don't think any mental illness is real, but I think that Kanye West, struggles with these two ideas of himself. There's this loving, smiling Kanye, the good Kanye, the happy Kanye, the Kanye with his kids and family, Kanye doing favors, the old Kanye with his mom that he wants to remember, right? The Kanye that embodies, the creative energy and the music that helps you get through depression when you're fucking miles away on the other side of the earth, and he's still reaching you and connecting to you, specifically to a whole generation of youth and upper echelons of Kanye West, right? That's the God mode Kanye West. The let's go to church, let's preach, let's do this Sunday thing. That's Kanye West in the best form possible, right? Then there's this Kanye West that takes the microphone from Taylor Swift, the Kanye West that doxes family and friends out of spite, the Kanye West that roasts people, the Kanye West that says slavery was a choice. Shit, the Kanye West that falls off the rails, but the Kanye West that fights, paparazzi, the Kanye West that runs for president, and because here's the thing, it started off as good intentions, but then when you're running for president and rambling, a lot of the time, you start trying to defend things that you just said as a creative spirit, as a rapper. Poem writers should never, speak about politics. Because when I do, it's funny. I've noticed when I do, it's funny. I always try to wrap everything up in this big circle, like politics is like wrestling. And there are quotes that are like that, but I'll just say it's like wrestling, like WWE, and we like to watch it. And it's like there's something that's almost there with, I think, every poem writer it gets into politics, because there's almost a thought that's there, and then it's like, because the idea is with poetry, rap, and rhymes, your idea is here's a metaphor that could be interpreted by anybody. But with politics, you want like clear messages. That, like, granted, there's a lot of stuff that you can't. I'd say rappers are good at, if they're being politicians, they're good specifically on the vagueness of promises. That's great, but anyone can be vague and promise things, right? There also has to be like this feeling that you're leading something, and I think a lot of rappers and musicians to begin with aren't good at that. Now, the reason why Trump was so good is because he looked like he knew what he was doing. He looked like a guy that knew his next day, his next month, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I see big plans in my, I can't do a Trump, but big plans, fuck, big plans, so big. You can't even imagine. Sometimes my head can't even wrap around that. Fuck, I fucked up. But as he just say shit like that, it would just be, he'd always be sure of it, even if he had no idea. And that was really one thing that was good about Trump. He was good at like roping people along. He'd be a great cult leader if he wanted to fucking go the Jim Jones route, just letting Donald. But Kanye West, I think, fell underneath Trump's wing and thought, okay, we'll just do whatever Trump's doing. But dude, you gotta, a lot of the time with when Kanye West was in that, and I don't know how I'm kind of breaking down, but a lot of the time when Kanye West was running for president, right, he would go off the rails. He would start crying during press conferences, break down, and a lot of that was not good for a leader. It was great as a rapper. It was great and emotional, and it helped him move tapes, right, for sure. Helped him move tapes for sure, and sold albums, bro. But as a president, like, you can't cry on the stand unless it's like for like 9/11. Don't cry over personal things, because then people associate you bringing personal work in, and no one likes the over a personal guy at work, and especially as a president, because that's the job, right? That's the number one job. You can't bring personal problems, while you're doing your work as a president. And then that's like the lower form Kanye. The and dude, and I don't know who needs to know this more than Kanye West, but every single person, man, struggles with this shit. Every single person. And everybody has mental illness is a term for people who don't fit in the structural bounds of society. Mental illness I don't think it really exists. Like ADHD, okay, there's some people that are gone off the rails, schizophrenic, and in another life, their weird ramblings, if you can extract, because dude, a lot of the time, especially when Kanye West rambles, some of it's good. You can take 2 or 3 golden nuggets of when Kanye West is breaking down for 2 or 3 hours talking. Some of it's really good. Some of it is really like the inspirational things and the motivation you can extract from him. Yeah, it's a guy literally fucking on the brink of collapsing and going back into a mental hospital. But at the same time, he'll say like, listen to your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you shit. People are always trying to get at me doing this and that. I do what I want, and that's how I became successful. Now, people go, oh, it's crazy Kanye talking, he's talking about the DJs or whatever. But in reality, if you take 3 steps back, you can see that Kanye West is a guy that, even though he says a lot of weird stuff, he became a billionaire in his rightful own. He became a music empire. He started a label. He went from producing, which a lot of people said he was never going to be a fucking rapper. Literally, Jay-Z said that shit. Jay-Z looked at him and go, yeah, this rapping shit's not for you. You're a producer. You're better at that. And what did he do? I ultimately think Kanye West is better than Jay-Z. More creative, at least. He's more influential because he's a producer turned rapper. And he got literally albums with the guy telling him that he probably wouldn't be the best at rapping. And it's wild, man. So a lot of the stuff that you can look at as Kanye West is crazy is I mean, he even has a song where it's like, damn, everything I'm not made me everything I am. God damn, everything I'm not made me everything I am. Like, he's a very wise intellectual person that sometimes should just stop talking 20-30 minutes before he should condense his speeches a little bit better. And like, dude, he'd be like an unstoppable. Because he always compares himself to guys that are of that ilk, Elon Musk's and the Jeff Bezos's and the the Steve Jobs of the world. But he is like those guys, except when you go off script, Kanye, you know what I mean? When you have like a script and you go off of it, sometimes you get into like almost podcasting form where it becomes kind of satirical, and especially when you're doing like an anti-abortion stance, it's not good to look like kind of like you're just thinking about, you're just fully forming your thoughts on stage at a conference during a president run. It's not a good look, right? But I'll be honest, man. With the people that love you, the people that care for you, they want to see you do well. Everybody wants to see Kanye do well, no matter how much of an ass he makes himself. You know what I'm saying? And let's be honest, man. Anybody, dude, with the unnatural and anybody that loves this unnatural society and doesn't have a heart and doesn't break down, I don't know, you're a cold individual. If you're one of those people that live your whole life, never had a public breakdown, never had a tough time in the world, you know what I'm saying? Went to work and just started crying, like just felt like your place in the world wasn't right. You felt, something happened to you or it's a buildup of mixed emotions, right? If you never had anything like that, right, you're a cold person, right? You're a cold individual. He's just someone that just shakes it off, right? Like Taylor Swift, Kanye West's mortal enemy. You just shake off. You just shaked off that you had an abortion, Taylor. Come on, son. I understand why Kanye West is pro-abortion now, but come all around, right? So my advice to Kanye, right, is to keep smashing younger, hotter chicks, right? That look like Kim. He's got to smash these chicks, right? Now, but maybe mix it up, right? Because nothing is better than smashing chicks that look like Kim. But you gotta find try an Asian Kim, try an East Indian Kim, maybe a Brazilian Kim. Someone, a Brazilian native Brazilian. Because the Brazilians over here, a little bit crazy. Brazilian down there without a butt lift. Get her just normal. Get a girl with a normal butt for once, right? And you'll see these girls got loyalty. People love you, Kanye, and you could probably find any chick that is even better for you. We'll get the girl, right? We'll get these girls, and then they know loyalty. Or at least if you pay them enough, they'll pretend that they know it. And they'll pretend that they're loyal to you. Now, if you really want to get Kim back, now this is throwing away all the cheating and shit. Throwing away all the just... what is this? That weird ass... there's like a let live and let live, it's on the tip of my tongue, but you just live and let live. If you're trying to throw that aside and you're trying to get Kim back, if you really want Kim back, my advice once again, become 3 to 4 times more successful than you already are. 3 to 4 times more successful than her, or 10 to 15 times more successful than her, because you brought her up, right? That's what a lot of girls do. You're way better than her. You brought her to your level, and instantly she ruined it. You'll never... Once the girl's at your level and she knows she's at your level, because, you guys got net worths. She's on your level. You have to... If you didn't boss up, you were trying to become president, I would have been a boss. She would have been stuck with you. You would have been a boss-ass motherfucker. But the fact that you didn't, you're still at her level, if not... in the public's eyes, a little bit lower. She probably thought she's better than you, dog. And then the only way to get back at her now is to... What grind did you have throughout the whole decades of you coming up? Making dope-ass beats and dope-ass music. So, you just gotta find a fucking dope-ass sample, flip it, get... maybe Lil Nas X on it. Maybe Tory Lanez, because he's popping off right now. And say, fuck it, get Lizzo into this bitch. If you're feeling a little dicey, get Tate McRae to do a duet with Paul McCartney again. Yo, instantly bangers. Maybe get Rihanna on that shit. Because she just pregnant. People want to hear what she's got to say. She probably had that kid already. She probably had that kid. It's been 4 months. Probably kid popped out right now. Rolled out in this world. Then we know Hollywood's got secrets. We know they got magic. But you gotta think about it, man. You gotta think Kim next to Skeet Davidson. You know what I mean? Skeet Davidson may fuck better than you. He may even have a better dick than Kanye. Listen, maybe. But if you really think that, once the sex is done, it's nice. But you need someone to talk to. You need someone that, inspires you. Someone that, gives you a mix of emotions. And, you don't even know, once you left the conversation with them, you don't even know what really hits you. And no one can do that better than you, Kanye. You're a crazy ass guy, but you imagine like a sit down private, dinner with Kanye West would be like. It'd be, I'm sure you wouldn't get bored. You'd be a guy that can talk for hours. He should start a podcast. Kanye West should. If he started a podcast, I'm sure all of those ramblings would eventually turn to make sense, and he would get better at talking long form speeches, which I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear the Kanye. And to be honest, shit, man, come on the podcast if you want. Open invite for Ye, no matter what stage of life you're at, bro. But yeah, when she's with Skeet Davidson, there's nothing to talk about. How many times can you hear, those throwaway SNL comedy bits? I once just ran through the garnet of making her laugh. She gonna get bored, bruh. That's for real. She's gonna get bored. You can't have just all jokes in a relationship, because then your relationship's just a joke. Believe me, I live a joke. A lot of women think I'm a joke. That's when I want to end it, right? That's when, start not taking anything seriously, including said relationship, right? But yeah, the sex, is good. But like, can she compare a guy that barely, he's not even the number one guy on SNL. Kenan Thompson, I think, is the head honcho of SNL right now, and maybe Kate McQueen Kingley. I don't know SNL. I don't know, but compared Skeet Davidson, second ranked member, maybe even third ranked member of SNL, tells shitty jokes, to fucking the musical genius, the producer turned rapper turned fashion business empire mogul, literally competing with Jordans. He's competing with Jordans, bro. Yeezys and Jordans. That's a hard, like, I to be honest, to this day I still think Jordans are ahead, but I think Yeezys are. When Kanye West made a song about Yeezy just jumped over Jumpman. It's wild. It's wild that it's probably a freestyle too. He's really happy because it wasn't that good, but it's wild, Kanye West. You can literally have a breakdown. You can run for president, fail miserably, have the world laughing at you, and still keep your career. And people still take you seriously. There's people defending to this day Kanye West could still probably run again and win. He just has to tighten up his schedule. I'm one of them. I'm one of the guys that believe Kanye West can truly be a fucking president, the president of the president of the United States. And it's gonna be wild because could you imagine the Keeping Up with the Kardashian shows? Imagine like the shows, because she's gonna have to. She wants that first lady clout. She's gonna marry him again. So maybe to wrap this all up, if Kanye West, gets a song out there, gets his wife back, or maybe you can get her like that, or maybe try running again. And with your interviews, make sure you don't trail off into no man's land. Don't trail off into your thoughts, because your thoughts don't always need to be shared. And I feel like Kanye West feels like it's an urgent thought, because a lot of his thoughts are very provocative and self-explanatory, and also vaguely gives you a sense of motivational wear and what he's done and accomplished. He probably wants to get a lot of that out to share to a lot of this media driven generation, people that share way too much anyways, right? So yeah, if he just stopped railing on and plowing through and bulldozing through, there's nothing wrong with taking a second to think about what you're going to say next, Kanye. Sometimes silence isn't always violence. Sometimes silence is just gathering your thoughts. Hold on, I'm gathering my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Give it a minute, right? Sometimes, because a lot of what he says, even it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait, right? And then even in his music interviews, man, I really hope he does, because he sometimes gets so fucking off rails, and then he kind of comes back, but it doesn't really, like that whole section could have been cut out, Kanye, with like that over indulging in like a thought that didn't really need to be said, but. If Kanye West really wants to get Kim back, or he can go the route of killing Skeet Davidson, and I think he exercised that quite a bit in his head. Yeah, but yeah, moving on, man. Last weekend, last podcast that I did. Sometimes I take weeks off. Let's be honest. Last podcast I did, I talked about this whole organization getting taken down. The gang lifestyle, the lifestyle YSL, Young Thug's label. Gunna and Young Thug were locked up, and they got the RICO Act. And then I kind of went on about how certain people gang members in the community. Now, that was under what I first originally thought with the media. The media's fake news, by the way. They pushed it out like, yo, this is a bad, he's in prison, he's in jail. I didn't know that the case is pending. I mean, everyone's innocent until proven guilty. Now, just because there's all these indictments and charges doesn't mean that they did half of them or all of them, I was out of line to kind of assume, because again, I tried to just make it funny, but I went down into a route of them already, being these gangsters. Young Thug, made sure they're not a street gang. I think even, R.I.P. Lil Keed. Lil Keed just passed away this weekend too, and he was under the YSL label, and wildly enough, days before his death on Instagram, he's posted YSL is not a street gang. This was literally days before his death. So again, with my conspiracy brain, I'm like, yo, he was not under any indictments. He was not under anything, and he was he was literally the next protege of Young Thug. Young Thug signed him very early in his career, in Lil Keed's career, and got him, and showed him the ropes of a lot of the music industries in and outs. And Lil Keed, with the help of Young Thug and the label, he was growing exponentially, and I was like one of his I think I mentioned him, like Lil Keed and Lil Got It. He's the brother of Lil Got It, and those two guys were dope. They liked a lot of their music, man, and it sucks that because they had a chemistry with their music. And then this will go on to like just talking a little bit about this. They had a chemistry with their music that I think like was reminiscent of those little guys that wear the crisscross, but like in the newer version of it, they had a very I just wish they had more music out there, because like they had very good chemistry on a lot of their songs when they were both energetic coming into the booth. It was fucking flames, man. And I really like Lil Keed, and I found him through. I was really big into Lil Got It when he made Crazy But It's True. Again, not a good album if your label's being under investigation, but it was like a fucking I didn't think that they were gangsters. I thought maybe they got a couple of guns, but for security reasons. But like every now and then walk around with a gun. Oh yeah. But then you put the gun away, and then you go live in your mansions, right? Young Thug and Gunna, like I go, yeah, they just push peas. And, they take some pills and, dance with some chicks in the club with your chains on. That's basically the extent of how gangster I thought they were. True. And then when this thing comes out, you go, okay, all their music's, indictifies them, which is, or not indicts them. I don't even know what the word I'm looking for. Vindicated or whatever. It's not even that. All their music is. I'm sorry, I took a couple edibles before I hopped off the podcast. All the music, signifies that they became, they were criminals, right? Or if they get charged with that, if you ever get charged with anything, it's going to suck. If I get charged with anything, it's going to suck trying to explain all of these podcasts. And I think I said this before, because it's fucking, I've admitted to like random, I'm like, yeah, I was on the Epstein Island. Yeah, I was in the Astro World War Zone and a lot of people died. Yeah, I was doing this, and I just say it for the jokes, and sometimes, a lot of the time, most people go, how could you say that? Until they actually get you gotta become a medium to larger fan of the Weekend Show with Medium J, because you'll kind of get like these explanations. If you only listen to the first 10 minutes, every first 10 minutes of this episode is fucking wild, and it's in a character, and then I slowly get into newses of the day. But nothing hurt me more than the news of losing Lil Keed, man. And I want to take back what I said last weekend, because because I did read up a little bit about what's going on, and it does seem like this whole I think DJ Drama had a RICO case that he talked about, and he said, dude, yeah, we were like Ja Rule or like all these like rappers, and they were like, but we weren't doing anything, bro. You get hit with a RICO or whatever, and you're like Fat Joe and Ja Rule and all those people under those labels or whatever at the time. DJ Drama talked about it and said all of that shit was like scary. It puts a hold on you and it fucks you up. You got to buy lawyers, you got to spend money on this and that, and it fucks up your kind of flow in the music industry. And Young Thug and Lil Keed, especially when a nigga's about to pop, right? This guy was dropping hits after hits. He just like the Slime Life and all of these guys are dropping huge bangers, right? They're popping, man, and they got the underground popping, and they're right when Lil Keed was about to pop through, they fucking died, and they don't even like, the police are still processing, and they're finding out no more, but they only said he passed away. So it's wild that they don't talk about it, especially Young Thug's locked up, Gunna's locked up, and I have faith that YSL will come out of this and they'll come out on top, man, because I think now, after looking through a lot of the details of the case, and I won't go into, listing off so much fucking shit. I won't go into what like the 56 things are and how they're trying to get his lyrics. Like, it happens to every rapper. They're trying to get his lyrics that you can be like almost an admission to the crimes that no proof of even happen, right? So I have faith that they'll pull up, Young Thug will pull up out of jail. I'm gonna push and beat, and Young Thug and Gunna, push some P's, and this time it's gonna mean papers. You know what I mean? Papers that get the job done. That'll help them push the P's of the penitentiary door open, and they'll be able to walk out this bitch richer than ever, man. And R.I.P. Lil Keed, man. I'm gonna bump your. I'll make sure. I'll put a couple of my favorite songs in the description of the podcast, because I really like Lil Keed, and he was Young Thug's fucking protege, man. They actually literally he was mentored by Lil Keed. Lil Keed was mentored by Young Thug. So I'd say actually, I don't need to put it in all. Just check out his music, man. It's definitely died at 24, which is I'm 28, just turned 28, which is wild. He's just a kid, man. He had his whole life ahead of him, and he was coming into his own to almost set a whole trend of new music, like the Slime Life with Young Thug, and it's fucking sad. And this is definitely, I would imagine that something like the takedown of this indictment with the whole label probably had something to do with it, whether it's Lil Keed feeling suicidal or whether you're just paranoid, taking more P's than you need be. It's definitely, I would think that, especially because they're not talking about it. Usually when the police don't want to talk about a death, they go, it's probably him, the police. That's especially days after. The family wants to know, the public wants, us fans want to know. They're taking so long, and if it says drugs, or you go, they did something to him. They came in, busting down the door, shot him by mistake, and they're like, okay, don't say he was gunned down by the police, because police already have a pretty bad rap as is, and if they gun down they would have to probably let the whole I don't know. But I digress. That's been the weekend show with Medium J. I'm gonna cut it short because these edibles are fucking me up, dude. I was now all of them. I took a bunch and I was like, I don't think they're gonna kick in. Took a bunch more, and I'd say R.I.P. Lil Keed, Young Thug and Gunna. You gonna get out of this alive? You guys are gonna hopefully make some good music and get out of this very fucked up predicament that you guys had. But again, DJ Drama was fucking in it, and he said that shit's it's the hip hop police. You know what I'm saying? The hip hop police trying to lock every nigga down just because they see a young nigga getting money, and they want to fuck us. You know what I'm saying? Want to fuck us like Lori Lightfoots Gay Army. You know what I'm saying?